Doing a bit of a special editing schedule today. It's time for another Starbase summary, but we were not going to release it unless we fit the static fire in. Over on Pad 2, Booster did a full engine static fire, and we've got that footage later in the video. Kicking it off over here, it's not the sheriff's vehicle that's blowing a radiator cap there. It'd be too far back for the radiator cap. That is the Deluge farm going off. And then over on the other side, the actual Pad 2, we've been seeing an awful lot of tests lately as they try to dial that Deluge system in preparation for flight. So there is a test of South Texas's most exciting water park that you're not allowed to, I guess, ride the water feature. You don't get on the pad and don't try. It's not a water park. It's a sound and energy suppression system for the world's largest, most powerful rocket. We did not install it for you to do lazy river rides around Starbase. That's not a thing. Don't try that in the Rio Grande either. Would not recommend it. But we've seen them be doing an awful lot of work over there at Pad 2 trying to get that dialed in. As I mentioned, as we stomp our way. Nice. The sheriff get a little bit of a misting there, I wonder, as we stomp our way towards the next flight of Starship. Now here, okay, we caught this. Looking about the middle of the screen, pap! And then whee, I guess is the noise that thing makes. It's a gas generator. Something over there in the gas generator farm looks like it cut loose. We're going to replay it for you. I think that's a roof panel flying through the air, going end over end over end over end. Not a huge thing. Again, they were testing that stuff out. That's why they do the tests. That's why they check all this stuff out to make it work. Got that repaired, it looks like, or at least they were able to not need that for the test they did today. There's a retract test again. How cool is that? You see the cutie. Oh, and a jogger. You see the cuties down on the bottom for the booster go in. You see the booster clamps, and then you see the arm swinging out of the way. The ship quick disconnect retracts like an alien that is done threatening you, and then the entire arm swings out of the way. Interesting perspective here because we've got a lot of that work over at Pad 1 that's sort of getting in the foreground of those Pad 2 shots from that beach angle. Going to see a lot of these in the videos, the Deluge system tests over at Pad 2. It's the top deck, it's the bottom, it's not really a deck, it's the bottom trench, but again, just trying to make sure that when that rocket lights up and lifts off, this pad will survive that. Static fire today looks like a pretty good indication that they made some serious progress from these initial, I don't really think it's fair to say initial, they've been working on this thing a lot, but these sort of middle tests is what we'll call them. Over here, there in the background, like I said, is Pad 2, but in the foreground, you start to see the components for Pad 1 come together. There's an excavating arm there in the lower left that's still working. There's that big pile driller, auger. It's probably the proper term. I'm sure the auger fans down in the comments will tell me exactly what I'm supposed to call it. But what does it really matter? It spins and drills holes in the ground. There's some of those service structure assemblies. We were calling that the gantry on Pad 2, but this is the replacement for that stool, the star stool, or whatever you want to call Pad 1. Here's a wider shot as they move those big frames around. Of course, that's not where they're going to be. It looks like they're sort of pre-staging them there on the side, I think. It looks too far away from the tower. I don't think that that's where they're supposed to be. I think that they're being sort of pre-assembled while they still work on the ground, because I feel like this needs to be a little closer to the tower. Maybe the perspective is messing with me. What do y'all think down in the comments? Let me know. This looks a little bit better. This might be telephoto magic happening, but we've got the chopped sticks. Patented TM, chopsticks. I came up with that myself on the fly there. I don't know if anybody else has said that. There's an old methane tank, CH4, it's carbon-4 hydrogens, put them together with their little chemically bonds, atomic bonds, I guess, and you get some methane. There's some nitrogen being delivered. Nitrogen coming out of the top is being delivered to the sky, but the more important thing is here at the back. Is that an engineering mallet? It looks like he was engineering the heck out of that little cover. Yeah, engineer it into position. Look, that one was fine. That one was, I don't know if that means it was better engineered or worse engineered than the first one, because the other one required some additional field engineering to make it fit. There's some grinding under the tank farm is what that label says there. Are they preparing some mounts? Or are they cutting open a raceway? I see a bunch of Those are like safety cap bolts. We've got the supervisor there doing a fantastic job of supervising the person on the ground actually doing the work. Well done, everyone. I'm not exactly sure what was going on. Looking back towards the production site, looks like we've got some Brownsville glow, port glow there in the background. Oh, neat. Colleen getting the hazy days. There's been so much humidity out there. I think sort of combined with some particulate smoke just makes it completely hazed out a lot of days. Your 17's aft section. It's there in the middle. You see it sticking up. Yeah, here we go. We'll zoom in a little bit. You can see a lot of these tanks on the outside, and then the center portion there with the plumbing coming together. We've been watching that. Again, the tank is the wider part, right? The center part is not the entire tank. The tank is the wider part, and that's the interior structures that you see there sort of sticking up as we have this nighttime shot where the future looks like the future because somebody decided to render all the vehicles with low polygon counts. I don't know how that works out, but there's some work happening back. This is going to be in Mega Bay 2 if we're looking through there. Yeah, it's got all those little fingers that sort of guide the parts together. Little triangle pieces sticking up. You can just see it in the back, but more and more equipment coming in the front here. You know something? That's all good. Oh, what do we have here? At first, I thought that was ship tiles. I was like, why are we so zoomed in with the hazy shot of ship tiles? But it was not ship tiles. It was the external bracing on Mega Bay 1 because this is a booster coming out to play. This is a couple days ago on May 5th. That would put it 2 days ago if today's the 7th. What in tarnation happened with this video? This is like denoised or it's being attacked by static of some sort. We'll have to figure out what's going on there. Luckily, Colleen was out there to grab the painted bottom. You see the black paint there on the bottom? It's like one really wide, short racing stripe. It adds at least 5 horsepower to the bottom of the rocket here. And I'm not sure what good 5 horsepower would be when you've got 33 Raptor engines. I do feel like 1 horsepower should be more, significantly more than a Raptor power, but I don't think it actually worked out that way because it's not like they came up with the power of the Raptor engine by how much like a Raptor could plow in a day. The primary problem is training a Raptor to plow anything. They're not going to do that. They're not beasts of burden. They're carnivores. They're alpha predators. Come on. Seriously. What was I talking about? Racing stripes. That was the joke. Yeah. We do think that it's part of that paint on the bottom. It's not just aesthetic. It's probably for some thermal management there on the bottom. Remember when the booster is screaming back in? Oh, nice. That's a cool shot, Caesar. When the booster's screaming back in, it's not going through the same re-entry velocities, right? It's not coming all the way in from orbit because the booster gets the Starship only part of the way to those orbital speeds, but it does have aerodynamic and heating forces acting on the bottom down there, even if they're not as crazy as coming in from orbit. So we see that paint down there. We'll see exactly how that shapes out and what's it going to look like when it comes back. You get that nice thermal tempering colors, right? You get like the straw colors and the golds and purples and that sort of stuff that sort of comes in. I wonder how that paint is going to look. Is it going to look nice and streaky? If you've ever been to Kennedy Space Center Visitors Complex and seen the capsule they have there, or the shuttles, if you've seen a flown shuttle that's come back and it's got some of those tiles on there, it gets this really nice streaking. Oh, Orion! The Orion capsule from Artemis 2 as well has that streaking on the heat tile. So I wonder if we'll get some of that fantastic launch patina on the boosters with that paint. Now, that was an interesting angle. We don't normally set up things on this side of the road there. That's cool. Nice, trying new things. Got a Starbase Live rollout from one of our 24/7 cameras. From the Static Fire this morning, there were 5,000 people watching Starbase Live. And then we also did the dedicated stream. I'm not even sure if 10 or 20,000 people ended up watching that. It's a huge community festival thing. Like, you see these things get scheduled. We hang out. We talk about stuff. We're not reading a script or anything like that because that's who we are. It's just a big place for the interested spaceflight community, the space nerd community, to hang out while they're doing these tests, hopefully increasing the appreciation and the understanding of what the heck is going on. But here, we've rolled the booster all the way out to Pad 2. Looks here like it is in between the chopsticks. Yep, there's one chopstick on this side of it, one chopstick on the far side of it. So this is going to be preparing for the lift. Remember, I promised static fire footage at the end of the video, so that means we're going to have to lift this booster on to Pad 2. There you can see the stubby chopsticks lifting the booster up. A little bit tough at night, especially with that haze, but we're going to see it swing on over towards Pad 2. Get it all aligned in position. I mean, these are a vibe. Look, it's not like, oh, this perfectly clear 8K, blah, 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 but these sort of like grainy, hazy, off in the distance. The parts that are further away are like darkened out. It's just a vibe on how this program. Look at that. Like, we're not waiting until next Tuesday when it's nice and clear in the middle of the day to do this operation. We've got things to do. I guess these days we've got AI satellites to launch or data centers to launch or whatever. They just keep pushing the program forward. So it really is a vibe when you see them working in all sorts of conditions out there, getting these things ready, not saying, well, we're going to wait a week because the weather's not great. It's like, nah, get that thing out there and do it. A little bit of waffle iron grid fin testing here. Going through a couple different positions. Remember, we see 2 of them out of the 3 here. One's going to be on the other side, out of view. What if they're like simulating a flight? Are they going through a range of motions? They're moving pretty quickly, back and forth between those different positions. They, you know something? Scroll back and watch that. Those look like they have more, I guess it'd be slop, I'd call it, like lash in them than I'd think. They seem like they waggled a little bit. They didn't come to a smooth stop. They were moving very quickly, but it's not like they decelerated before stop, and they would go a little boing at the end of each movement. All this footage here is of Massey's over there. Wasting no time, putting ship 40 over at Massey's to get this cryo testing done. Tough to see from this angle because the tiles are great insulators. You don't see a lot of ice. Here we've got the second ship 40 cryo test. Again, pushing this thing through its paces over there at Massey's. Long range views make it a little bit tough to see, but that's all good. Oh, well, we must be done. We're rolling it back. Looking through the haze and seeing it do its dainty little pirouette there over at Massey's. Rolling behind the crane, past the jails, past the other test rigs. Oh, nice, Colleen. Look at that. That would be, I'm going to guess that this is coming up the road from Massey's. Oh, we got both sides of it. Wow. That's a really cool shot. Thank you, Colleen. Nice. And without warning, we go straight into the static fire testing. Like I said, oh my gosh, this poor camera. One of the lenses on one of the cameras there actually took a rock to the face. 2 out of 3 lenses were just fine. Look at this from the side. Look at all the shock waves coming out of there. God, this is the closest. Look at, oh my gosh. Dang. That is like danger close. Big thanks to the team. Gage actually got that camera out there for this position to get that angle. They are not missing any steps to get the cameras out to get you all these views. Scroll back, watch the static fire a couple more times. We wanted to get it in the video because that happened just a little bit earlier today, but that's it for this Starbase summary. We appreciate y'all watching, and we will see you next time. Thanks for watching.